welcome to the vlog. This is going to be my first time doing a cheeky little reading vlog with you guys. So yeah, day one check-in. I got excited about trying this out. I've been watching a ton of Sydney's vlogs. I'll put her page up here. I'm sure you've seen her. She makes great content. And yeah, I love how casual and chatty her vlogs are, but I also get really inspired by a lot of her fun ideas that she uses for her vlogs. So just wanted to try it out and see how it goes. So I guess to kick things off, I'm just going to show you what I'm going to be reading. Today is the 28th of August, so we have a 3-day weekend coming up, and I was supposed to be on site for a conference this week, but then I got really sick. I'm feeling a little bit better today, but that means that my work is a little bit slower this week, so taking a deep breath, having a chill week leading into a 3-day weekend. And what does that mean? It means lots of time to read. So as we go into the end of the month, here are the books that I have in progress, what I've finished recently, and what I think I can reasonably accomplish before the end of the month. So the book I just finished yesterday is The Shadow of the Gods by John Gwynne. I love this. I read this with my friend book club, and my best friend Molly picked this out. Incredible choice. We loved it. We're going to continue. The book club is reading something different next month, but she and I are going to continue this series with Hunger of the Gods next, and then she and I want to do some videos about this. So you'll be seeing her. She's great. You'll love her. But yeah, this was amazing. It was a 4/4.25 star read for me. One of the things that I am noticing is the more I read more and more high and epic fantasy, a lot of times the first book does feel a bit more like a prologue, which is fine. But that combined with some of the repetitive phrases, thought cage, pendulous testicles, and snot drips, just stuck out so much for me. That yeah, it if you know, you know. But love this incredible ending, and I cannot wait to start Hunger of the Gods. I am making my way through the Two Towers. I'm doing a tandem read of Two Towers and The Return of the King based off the Chris and Mads Patreon. Having a wonderful time with this. Yeah, Two Towers is a lot more fast-paced than I thought it would be, and it's also way closer to the movie than I knew. I think because certain parts of the Fellowship were cut out, I'm just surprised to see that this is almost like a 1-for-1 so far. So yeah, having a great time with that. I don't know if I'll be able to finish this before the end of the month. Partly because what I am enjoying is an echo of things to come. I'm like 20% of the way into this, and I'm getting so much more sucked in than I was with The Shadow of What Was Lost. So I'm kind of thinking that I just want to dig into this over the next couple of days and finish this guy up because I have time to give my attention to it and I won't hopefully miss anything. Yeah. I'm also in the middle of The Witness by Nora Roberts. I did pick it up from the library on my Kindle, so I've been reading this a little bit more here and there. Enjoying that. I would love to finish it just to get it off my currently reading. I have a little bit too many things going at once, and like I know myself, there are certain things that I'm really excited to get to for September. For example, I'm going to be starting Tawny Man, and Fool's Errand has just been calling my name, so I need to clear my goal. I need to clear at least 2 of these off of my currently reading list to feel a little bit more calm going into September. And I'm also still only about 30% of the way into Harrow the Ninth. I think this one, I was trying to listen to it only, and even though I love Moira Quirk's narration, this is a book that I think I need to be also reading it with my eyeballs to make sure I'm not missing anything. But yeah, sadly, I've been kind of ignoring her. Sorry. So yeah, that's everything that I'm currently reading, and I really think if I put my mind to it, I can finish up these 2 bad boys before the end of August. And then while we're sitting here, just wanted to give a quick little update on my Paper Republic. I was thinking about it, and I've not been reaching for this quite as much, like while I'm out and about, as much as I thought I would. I thought that like I would grab this to write down a quick idea or use it as like an on-the-go planner, and that's why I put this guy in here. And I just haven't been doing that. I won't now. I've only had this for about 5 or 6 weeks, but part of what I was so excited about for this is sort of modular nature and like flipping back and forth between things. So we're just going to do that today, test it out for a little bit longer in a different configuration and see how I feel about it. So I'm going to be taking out this guy, which you can't see. I'm going to be taking out my Hobonichi weeks that I got for like content planning and life planning, and I'm just going to set that aside. I'm going to put this cover back on it. And then part of why I thought about this is I have this clear cover barely hanging on by a thread, and yeah, it's starting to stress me out. So I was going to take that out and switch it and just see how I get on with it with having my reading journal in my Paper Republic. It's so weird holding her naked. But yes, so we have this. And she's so much chunkier than the green one. It's so funny. Do I want it on my current page? Probably not. Let's do that. And we'll go, that looks like about half. Last week was about half. So now we have my reading journal in here. And I also took out my writing notes journal because, again, like I said, I just haven't been reaching for it as much for that purpose while I have this. And you know, maybe one day I'll have like an A6 size or like a pocket size notebook that I will want to carry around with me. But the couple times that I did put this in my purse, it was just a little bit too much. But I do love this size for the fact that it can fit the weeks because I love having a weeks, and I do like having I do love this size and I absolutely don't regret it, but I think I see a pocket size in my future. So let's take a look. So now you just open the cover and I just have the card and cash holder. Then we go into here and I have some tabs. This guy was tucked into the cover of my weeks. This is just a Hobonichi weeks sized blank notebook. I like having one of these on hand because sometimes I'll have to cut and cover something up in here. I've done that a couple times, so I've gotten to the point where I carry it around. I don't think that I'll probably need to do that anymore for the rest of the year, but whatever. Covered up. I have my work cards in here, so I covered those up. Yep, my Coffee Monsters Co stickers, reading journal, sort of commonplace journal, just like on the go or like random notes that then need to be put somewhere else. And then a long form journaling, like just if I need to process some things, get some thoughts out onto a page. So yeah, we're gonna live with this for a while and see how I like it. And what I'm also thinking, what I've noticed, so in this content planning, I started using it also a little bit for like life stuff. So I have like a little bit of meal planning, my like medication tracker for taking my meds, and then like events and like life stuff. I think I'm not gonna add that in here anymore because I do have that in my Hobonichi Cousin and it's like a little repetitive. But I do really like having at the bottom here, I will put a list of the books that I'm either in progress of reading or that I need to read next, so that I kind of have a snapshot of my TBR of like what's coming up. But yeah, I think another reason that I wanted to take it out of the Paper Republic is that I've been using this guy for like 5 months now for content planning, and I will not be getting this again for 2026. Instead, what I'm going to be doing is combining some of my journals for 2026. But yeah, so there's that switched out. Now we just have this little guy separate from here. And we're just going to test this out because guess what? If I don't like it and I change my mind, I can just switch it back. And now I'm gonna go shower because I'm disgusting. I just worked out and I smell. Little fun fact about my filming setup. If you ever see this background, this is my bookshelf in my bedroom. Love it. Just redid that wall. Just redid that wall like last year. And then this is a lanai, or a fully glass enclosed in heated cooled room in the house, and it's absolutely lovely, but the light is really finicky. So I just filmed a TikTok out here and I was really overexposed, so I went inside, but it's almost 6 p.m. so like the light is getting bad and also storms are rolling in, so not ideal. But then the sun went behind a whole bunch of clouds and now the lighting out here is lovely. So we're moving again. So I feel like I'm constantly battling the light when I'm filming. But this is my view, for anyone wondering. If you can see that, we have the mountains. So lovely. Yeah, this room has been really fun to play around with. It's kind of like a bonus space because, you can't use it as like a bedroom. It gets really hot in the summer, really cold in the winter. But my husband has a whole bunch of plants going on over here. I have my Pilates reformer behind me, and then I'm creating like a little podcast filming situation over on the other short wall. So yeah, it's a fun like bonus space. And when the lighting is right out here, it's truly gorgeous. So can't complain too much, although I've been out here for 2 seconds and I'm already hot. We have to take a minute to appreciate my Spoons Oregon t-shirt. Tara DeWitt, I love you. Yeah, I will just come out here usually in the mornings and film a quick video because this this room faces west, so the sun is not blaring in through the windows and completely bleaching my already pale face out. And it's really, I honestly just really enjoy it. I love the way that my videos come out when I'm sitting out here. And I'm just at like this little table that I use for either sewing or journaling. This is also where I film my journaling videos. And it's just a fun little space. So yeah, I just did a reading update for TikTok. I shared that I'm about halfway through Two Towers and loving it. I was just talking about how Andy Serkis's narration for his audiobook versions are so fun to listen to if you're fans of the movies, because he essentially is doing impersonations of the actors who play the characters. So when you listen to a line from Frodo, it sounds like Andy Serkis doing an impersonation of Elijah Wood. If you're listening to a Gandalf line, it sounds like him doing an impersonation of Ian McKellen. And so that is really fun. Not to mention the obvious fact of Andy Serkis doing Gollum's lines is just perfection. But yeah, so highly recommend those audiobooks. I know is it Robert Inglis, has obviously a cult following. People have tons of nostalgic value attached to those versions of the audiobooks. But seeing as I never listened to those, I'm loving these and I would highly recommend. Ooh, note to self, one of the things I'm going to do in this vlog is build my September TBR. So hopefully you'll see that in another clip sometime soon. Good morning. It is Friday morning now, and we're just gonna get ready for the day. I normally drop off the kids in the morning, and then I come home and do all my stuff. Oh, this is Burger scratching. You can leave, but first you have to say hi. You say hi. You say hi. Say hello. Anyway, this is my all-time favorite dry shampoo, the K18. I just started using it this year. But what's insane about it is one bottle will last you like 6 months, and I have a lot of hair. And it's because you really only need a couple spritzes each day or each time you use it, yeah, it's magical. Let's see, I'm listening to An Echo of Things to Come. I'm on chapter 12. There's a lot happening, trying to keep track of everything. One thing about switching between reading it and listening to it is when Caden is having his like memory moments, there's no indicator as you're listening that we've gone into a memory, whereas when you're reading it, it goes into italics. It's very clear that it's a memory. So I'm having just a teeny bit of trouble with that. And I think this weekend, when I'm no longer doing anything, I will just immersion read it instead of only listening to it to make sure that I understand everything, but I'm enjoying it. This is the Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin. This is great. I love this. Okay, and that's it. That's my face. If I'm gonna film, I will put a lip on so that my lips don't look the same color as my face. I have some House Labs glosses. I also really like doing a lip liner, just any lip liner, honestly. This is an LA Girl or L'Oreal. I do have one bougie Charlotte Tilbury. Do that, and then a little bit of honestly just Vaseline, and then I'm good to go. But yeah, now I'm gonna go edit and post a TikTok and then do my real job. Boring.
I call to the mountains sitting across the bay. Morning comes always steadier than yesterday. I take the stillness as a sign to write a song about things we've done and the things still to come.
Good morning, friends. So it is Saturday morning, and I've just been having a slow start to my day. Grandpa noises. I had some tea, I took my meds, I had breakfast, played Stardew Valley for a while, listening to Lycanius more. I will fight Weir's mom. She's being an absolute garbage person right now to her son. But now I'm having my coffee, and I'm gonna do the Chris and Mads Patreon deep dives on Mad Ship and Ship of Destiny. So I think I've done one of theirs on Mad Ship, so I believe I have 3 videos to catch up on this morning, and I'm so excited. So let me show you what I've got going on. I have my Muji pen for if I want to mark up anything in the book. I have some sticky tabs for if I want to tab anything in the book. I've got my notebook, my reading notebook. This is a Wonderland 222 notebook. just the A6 size, and then this is a Hobonichi A6 cover from last year. And I think I said in a previous video, but this is just where I take sort of any random notes about books that I'm reading. And then if I'm making a dedicated video on it, I have my content planning journal where I can pull info from this guy and get myself a little bit organized if I have a video idea. So I also brought this over here in case I have any ideas for videos. And then this guy was just on my Paper Republic. This is the Uni pen. Love. I've got my extra fine TWSBI inked up in the Platinum Carbon Black. Really loving this ink right now. And then I was journaling in my reading journal, and my spread for the week, I am using this fine TWSBI inked up in Pilot CO Row. It's like this gorgeous teal. It shades beautifully. I'm going to try and figure out a better way to film my ink samples because I want you guys to be able to see just how good some of my favorite inks are. And when I've done the quick little pen tests in the past, I'm just not thrilled about how it actually comes off on camera. But yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing this morning. I'm in my bedroom right now to film. I will probably go back out to the living room and hang with the fam. But yeah, I hope you guys are having a great Saturday. Okay, I finished the deep dive of Mad Ship. All my annotations, took tons of notes. Incredible, as always, from Chris and Mads. If anyone's curious what I was annotating, if you can see that, I'll leave it longer than the 2 seconds. I'm trying to get better at that. But for the most part, I was tracking serpents and dragons. I did since we're following different people and different groups, I did serpents and dragons, Vivacia and crew, Paragon and crew, and then I was really loving all of the character development in the different Vestrit women, so I had a specific tab for them. And then lore, so Easter eggs, lore drops, anything that felt like it was referencing maybe Farseer or something going forward. And then I had a general one for quotes, although I found myself doing that a little bit less because I like knowing what the quote was referring to. So instead of just being a general quote, I wanted to know why I tabbed it. But yeah, so good. So good. And now I'm sad in advance thinking about Ship of Destiny, but it's okay. We will persevere. We will get through it. And if there's one thing about Robin Hobb, it's that yes, she will traumatize you, but it will not feel unearned. Anything hard or upsetting or sad that has happened never feels like it's for shock value. It never feels forced or overdone or out of place. Everything just clicks together in such a satisfying way, and it's all threads woven through these stories that are coming together in the most satisfying conclusions. So yeah, you might be sobbing on the floor, but you'll be happy about it. So we are in yet another filming location. I am upstairs in the same condo complex that I live in, taking care of my in-laws' cats. We decided to buy a condo in the same building as them a couple of years ago, and even though the building has been kind of a hot mess, living next to them has been fun, and obviously we both benefit from having free help in the building when, things like this come up. But I'm up here, I'm doing the deep dive on Ship of Destiny, having a great time, loving it. I only finished this book 2.5 weeks ago, and I'm this is making me dying to start Fool's Errand. Honestly, I can't believe I even took a break. I really overloaded my August TBR, and I think as I'm now reflecting on what I want September to look like, and this is the last day of August, I will be pausing The Locked Tomb and Licanius. I'm just not excited to read them at the moment, and yesterday when I was trying to listen to An Echo of Things to Come, I just kept getting distracted, or I was trying to find other things to do. I just didn't really want to listen to it, and it was hard to figure out why, because I was when I was locked in, when I was paying attention, I did enjoy the story. And so I think it's just not the right time for me. Perfectly fine, good books will be good forever. That's the best thing I've heard all year. Credit to Chris and Mads for that one. But truly, a book sometimes just has to hit you at the right time. And the time for me right now is I am excited about Robin Hobb. And I don't ever want to force myself to read something that's supposed to be for fun. I think the times that you should be challenging yourself to read something like that, where you have to sort of like concentrated, sit down, make yourself engage with the text. I think the only times where that's really appropriate are if you're trying to learn something new, like maybe from a nonfiction or from like a point of view that you think is really important, that you want to expand your worldview, but maybe is not written in a way that's super accessible to you. I think that's the only time that you should really be challenging yourself. When it comes to or more fun reading, I think it's way better to just come about it in a more organic way and wait for things to sort of strike you at the right time. One of the best examples of that for me this year was This Is How You Lose the Time War. I started listening to that in February and I thought it was weird and I couldn't get my head wrapped around it. And I was just listening to it. And I think that was part of the problem. But then I went back and read it over the summer when my Spin the Wheel TBR spinner picked it, and I adored it. I gave it 5 stars. So I think books, they just wait sometimes for them to hit you at the right time. And as you develop your understanding of yourself as a reader, you can then understand, okay, is this book a soft DNF for me? Like, is it something I'm just going to wait until another time? Or is it a hard DNF? I really don't like it. I don't like the writing style. I don't like the author, or whatever. So yeah, nothing against Locktomb or Lycanius, but I sat down and sort of looked at the list of things that I was planning or thinking of reading over the next couple of months before we hit the end of the year, and I sort of cleaned that list up as well. Like I was going to read The Will of the Many, and then The Strength of the Few, and I just don't feel like it now. I want to read Realm of the Otherling. And yes, it's exciting that Strength of the Few is coming out and that everyone's really excited about it, but that doesn't mean that I necessarily have to be, because I haven't even read the first one yet. And so I'm not going to force myself to read it to catch up in time for the release. I'm just going to wait. And if it's as amazing as everyone says, it will be good in 6 months or a year or whenever I come to it. But yeah, so I will be prioritizing knocking out standalones on my physical TBR. So I think today I'm going to sit down and from my TBR wheel spinner itself, I'm going to remove anything that's the first book of a series, because I just don't think that I'm the type of person that can have multiple series going at once. I like to really focus in on series. And I especially have trouble when I get myself in these situations where all of a sudden I've started a bunch of books, but I'm not finishing them. So I'm going to try and be better about that. And yeah, so we'll still be making progress on the physical TBR, but we're going to be only doing physical standalones for now. And I'm excited because I was also kind of thinking last weekend I read Deadly Animals by Marie Tierney. I read that in like a day and a half. It was so, so good. That was like a Nancy Drew 80s mystery thriller, really dark, really grungy, really, really good. And I had no trouble reading that. Like, I did not feel like I had to force myself to read it. I did not feel like it was mentally taxing. And so what I'm hoping will happen is I will get to devote time and energy to Robin Hobb. And then as I go, mix in some of these standalones of maybe different genres as little palette cleansers, a slight change of pace, like so that I can keep making progress, but also I'm hoping that those change ups in those genres, because they're just standalone novels, that they won't make me feel like I'm committing to something that is then taking away from time that I could be reading more Robin Hobb, if that makes sense. The only series I will be continuing in addition to this is the Bloodsworn Saga, because I am reading that with my best friend and we are planning on doing some videos about it together. So yeah, I will be reading that. And I think paring everything down, having two going at once, even though that I think is not necessarily my ideal standard going forward, doing it for now I think will be just fine. And then I am also still finishing The Two Towers and The Return of the King. And I think that one is also a bit of an exception to the rule, mainly because I'm so familiar with the story. And I'm also already like 75% of the way through Two Towers, so like doesn't make sense to stop now. But yeah, so I've just told you what my plan is, and then I've made like excuses as to why I'm not sticking to it. But just clearing off Lycanius and the Locked Tomb is making me feel so much better, and I'm gonna only make a TBR of maybe like 10 to 13 books for September. That seems to be my average that I can reasonably read without like forcing myself every month. And yeah, I'm feeling a lot more just like calm and excited. Whereas at the end of August, I started getting weirdly stressed out about the books that I had to read, which is just so silly because I don't have to read anything I don't like. I made up these lists and then I'm stressing myself out about sticking to it. So anyways, I'm gonna try and get some cute footage of the kitty cats up here. So hopefully you can enjoy that now. Bye. Hi. Oh. Nice to see you. Well, I did it. I finished the Ship of Destiny deep dive and I cried again. This book is just so beautiful. The messages it has about trauma and cycles and the way that we can process our pain and absorb it and hold on to it with but also not give it to others, not perpetuate it, not continue the cycle. Ugh. Robin Hobb is just a master, and if you haven't already, you simply must read this series. Honestly, like if for whatever reason you have no interest in reading all 16, I think you absolutely could still read The Live Ship Traders and get so much out of it. Oh my god. I like I said earlier, I know I read this only a couple weeks ago, but even just going back again now, like this makes me so excited to do a reread and really is solidifying my decision to continue with Tawny Man as soon as humanly possible, meaning right now, today, as soon as I go back downstairs and pick up my copy. Whew, yeah, yeah. Hello again, friends. So the last time I checked in with the vlog was Sunday. It is now Wednesday. This is my first sort of attempt at this style of video. I don't know if I like where you guys are at. Okay, I like that. I feel like I can show you what I'm doing a little bit better. I am sitting in my bedroom in front of my bookshelf. I have in front of me my Pilates box, like the long box that you would put on the reformer. This has become like a makeshift spot for me if I need to, if I want to maybe journal or prop my computer up for therapy. I've been having therapy in here. So yeah, that's where I'm sort of set up and I'm making my TBR for September. So I thought I would just chat with you about what I'm thinking. And yeah, I have my Google Sheets up and I'm going to take a little screenshot maybe so that I can show you what I'm doing. It's a little crazy. I fully recognize that, but essentially I've made a list for each month with little and then put little check boxes on it. I'll just show you from August, so you can just kind of get an idea. Let me take that screenshot right now so I don't forget. So yeah, I just write down the books that I want to read that month, and as you'll see, I used to give myself like 24 lines. Yeah, like 24 lines per month to write a TBR, and that's because that's how many the way that I write my TBR in my reading journal. That's how many lines I ended up having. And that just ended up making me feel bad basically every month about how much I wasn't reading, because I've never read 24 books in a month. So I think I went into it with this idea that like, if I write down that many books, it just gives me a selection and I don't have to worry about if I finish it or not. Whereas I think writing a smaller TBR, I'm looking forward to it more in a more focused way. And then that means as I read through it, I can add books if I want to, but as I check things off, my like percentage completed for the month is going to be a lot higher because the list is a lot shorter. So right now I am pulling together my September TBR, so I will just show that to you as I grab it. First up, we have When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy. I'm reading this with my in-person book club. One of my friends was feeling overwhelmed and she was like, I don't want to pick this month. Can you just pick and I'll say it's my book? So I was like, yeah, let's read Nat Cassidy. Then for aardvark, I got Local Heavens and Lucky Day. And I'm going to be doing a video about all of the horror books I own. I'm going to try and read all of the horror that I own between now and the end of October and make a fun little video about it. So I've got 5, including When the Wolf Comes Home, but 5 picked. So first one is When the Wolf Comes Home. Second is Lucky Day. And then I'm going to be reading What Hunger by Catherine Dang, The Starving Saints by Caitlin Starling, and an oldie, I've had this one for a couple years, The Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires by Grady Hendrix. So that's going to be my little horror TBR for September. Then I plan on finishing my tandem read of Two Towers and Return of the King. So I've got these to add to the stack. I am already like 60% of the way through with Fool's Errand. I'm going to give you some thoughts on that here in just a minute, but Fool's Errand. Waiting on my copy of The Hunger of the Gods. I will be reading that. I will be reading Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. This is going to be with the Chris and Mads Patreon. I really want to read Artificial Wisdom by Thomas Weaver, so I will be reading this. The last one is my most current TBR wheel spin, and that is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. So we have 12 books chosen, and my reasoning for that number is that mathematically works out to be about 3 books a week, which on my best weeks when I'm reading like novellas or I have a lot of days off, I've read sometimes up to like 5 or 6 books in one week. But I think overall my average throughout the year has been about 2 to 3 per week. And so I think that feels like a much more realistic way to approach my TBR, and I feel a lot better about it. Okay, initial thoughts on Fool's Errand by Robin Hobb. Ship of Destiny was simply incredible, and she got me again. At the end of Assassin's Quest, I was like, I don't want to leave these characters. I don't want to go on to a new trilogy. At the end of Live Ship Traders, I was like, I don't want to finish this. I don't want to go on to a different trilogy. And yeah, as soon as I picked up this book, it was like coming home. All of a sudden, we were back with Fitz and Night Eyes, and I am loving the character development of those two and the way that their bond has grown throughout the years between Assassin's Quest and now. The sort of like Fitz has calmed down so much. He still obviously is going to be flawed and is not going to make the best decisions, but he's like slightly less impulsive because he's older now and he has this perspective and he's grappling with these questions of what do I want my life to be? And I think that is such a relatable question for a person in their 30s where, even though I'm not the bastard son of a deceased prince and a lost heir to a kingdom and someone who has relinquished all power and association to the crown and sort of relevance in society, I am a almost 30-year-old woman who is sort of slowing down a little bit now that I've reached this new phase in my life and asking myself those questions of what do I want my life to look like? What legacy am I going to leave behind? What impact do I have on others? How do I show my love to others? How do I show up for people in my life? And those are the kinds of questions that he's now dealing with, which I feel like are so age appropriate. and a really cool evolution of his character compared to Farseer. So it's just a testament to Robin Hobb's character building, but also the beauty of this series where we are able to follow Fitz throughout the total of 9 books that he is featured as the main character, follow him on this growth journey and sort of him as a person. So yeah, I'm loving this, but I'm also like clenching my whole body in preparation because I know that this book is the one that everyone says makes them cry. And so I'm so scared that Night Eyes is going to die. So now we're dipping into maybe some more spoilery content for Fool's Errand, but there's a moment where Fitz and the Fool have been reunited. Beloved, I simply cannot. And all of a sudden, through the wit bond, Fitz feels Night Eyes is in trouble. So he goes running for him, and he's choking on a piece of fish. And as he clears Night Eyes' airway, things are still not good. Still, things are still not right. And Night Eyes, essentially, I perceive him to be having a heart attack. So Fitz does this crazy thing where he leaves his body and goes into Night Eyes, and Night Eyes is immediately angry and upset with him. And he uses the wit bond and the wit magic to repair Night Eyes' heart. And what I think they're building up to here is Night Eyes' death, inevitably, because he is going to have a shorter lifespan than Fitz, I fear. But what I also think they're doing is they're showing that Fitz and Night Eyes are not completely on the same page. So what we know from the stories that Fitz tells the Fool is that he lived for at least 1 year with the Old Blood community, and they talked a lot about what is right and wrong to do with your bonded animal, and caution a lot against being too close with your bond animal, because if you're too close, then you are a shell of a person when they die, or you commit what some see as like an ultimate sin, and you imbue your soul into the other person, the other individual's body when one of them dies. So we saw this happen at the end of Royal Assassin, beginning of Assassin's Quest. Fitz dies in the dungeon and he goes into Night Eyes and he lives there for a while, and they are like one being. So already we know that they are closer than a lot of bonded pairs because of this experience. He's able to disentangle himself and go back into his body, and that's how he comes back in Assassin's Quest. But obviously his bond with himself and Night Eyes, and the two of them, are irrevocably changed. And they say at least a handful of times that like Night Eyes is way too much like a human because of this experience. And so when they're out together with the Old Blood, they show Fitz and Night Eyes a deer who is holding the souls of both the deer and her human companion, because they could not let each other go when the human died. And they're viewing this animal with this sense of wrongness and judgment, almost like it's an abomination. And I believe that Night Eyes is a lot more concerned about this happening than Fitz is, whereas I feel like Fitz is way more willing to commit these sins to save Night Eyes or to keep their bond than Night Eyes would be. I think Night Eyes has a lot more of like a circle of life, like what will be sort of mentality with this. And so I think when we see Fitz like force his way into Night Eyes to save him, and we see how upset Night Eyes is, I think it's because Night Eyes wants there to be an acceptance between the two of them when he goes, and he, I think, is afraid that Fitz will not accept his death. And I am also scared of that. So that's been really hard. I'm also so curious as to what the central conflict is going to be. So right now, Fitz the Fool, Night Eyes are in Gallatin. And I'm just so sad for what I think they're going to be building with Dutiful, because it appears to be that Dutiful was given a cat as a basically planted bond animal in order to manipulate him. And so I'm just scared that like the parallels between Dutiful's experience with the wit and Fitz's experience. Fitz was separated from his first puppy, Nosy, And that was obviously really heartbreaking. Then he lost his second bond animal when the dog tried to save Burrich. And I think the parallel here is going to be that Dutiful will lose this cat, but lose it to betrayal, because I don't think that the cat I think the cat was planted to sort of corrupt and influence Dutiful. But as of yet, we still have not like directly met Dutiful on page. We've just seen their connection through the skill, so that's been really interesting. And God, just everything with Fitz and his two children is so aching. I cannot imagine knowing that I have two children in the world, and knowing that it is best for them for me to not be in their lives. Like all those pieces with Fitz just is so heartbreaking. But yeah, lots of fun like connections to live ships. The Fool shows up on a horse that he's named Malta, which I loved. I'm so curious as to why the Fool was so fixated on her when he finally met her in live ships and left his mark on the back of her neck. And I want to know like what else is going on there. I'm so curious. And then when I was watching the Chris and Mads deep dive, Maddie pointed out like always pay attention to descriptions of silver. Silver equals magic. So the memory stones that the Elderlings use are black stones veined with silver. Then now that the Fool is back in Fitz's life, he's constantly covered in silver. He has silver embroidered clothes. He wears a silver clip in his hair. Like I'm tracking it all. I'm highlighting, I'm taking note, and it's fun to like be aware of that Easter egg without it being a spoiler. So I'm kind of paying attention to that. But yeah, that's my check-in on Fool's Errand. I will let you know how I get on with it. I guess what I might do is hold on to this vlog footage until I finish Fool's Errand, and I will just call this my Fool's Errand vlog. I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it. But yeah, love, 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 love. You know what? No, I will, because there's no chance that I make it through the end of this weekend without finishing Fool's Errand. Like I'm going to be finishing it. I'm sucked in. I'm making so much progress on it every single day. So yeah, my August wrap up will go up probably tomorrow, Thursday, and then I will just shoot for having this vlog wrapped up by Sunday so I can post it, and that will have basically my September TBR and then a Fool's Errand impressions vlog. And I'm going to do my best to mark everything down with spoilers, with timestamps for spoilers. And yeah, I think I like that idea. Hello. Little sneak peek for the vlog. I just did an unboxing of my Hobonichi order for 2026. The weeks I ended up picking is In the Forest. I got the mega version. I'm excited to see how I use this. My ideas so far, I have one or two extra little like reading tracker, reading spreads, but then I think I do want to be able to use the back for like notes on books if I want to be able to have like reference for videos and such. So we will see how I get on with this, but also, you know, if I don't end up using all the pages, that just means that for next year, I will not get a mega again. But isn't she adorable? I think I was very heavily in the sort of like foresty fall vibe now that I am 75% of the way through Fool's Errand. So yeah, absolutely think that influenced me there. And then I grabbed an A6 Hobonichi along with this canvas cover. I'm really excited about this guy. My plan is to kind of use this as like a day-to-day grab and go. I have a little slim card holder that I often lose track of in my bag, or I don't remember to transfer between my work bag and my purse, which is not great. So I'm thinking I can zip that in here along with a couple like pens and, you know, like quick, easy stationery. And my idea had been with my Paper Republic that would be something I would carry around with me, and I think that was just a little bit too ambitious for the size because I did get the A5 or the Grand Voyager XL. So my hope with this because I used an A6 this year for work and I really loved it. And I think what I'm going to enjoy about using this for like my personal life is the fact that it's just smaller than the cousin. I do not do a lot of big creative spreads in my cousin. But I think that I will have fun getting creative and doing some more like day to day, what I'm getting up to, sort of memory keeping in here. I think it'll just be less pressure. And it'll be a good like grab and go for something just to have on hand if I have an idea, if I need to write something down, or if I just want to do a little bit of journaling on the go. I think this is going to be a lot more functional for what I need it for. But yeah, those are the Hobonichi things, and I got some other goodies I will probably make just a dedicated video about, but the vlog can see it first. Little reading update though. I have been listening to When the Wolf Comes Home by Nat Cassidy on Spotify. I try to listen to like one book a month there if I can remember, just to make the most of my subscription. You only get 15 hours. So if I know that there's a book on my TBR that's on there that's less than 15 hours and it fits all those criteria, I'll try and listen to it through there. So I was listening to it today. I'm like 30% of the way through, and it is so good. I mean, I'm not shocked. I know I love Nat Cassidy's writing, but yeah, I am loving this so, so much. It is so creepy. It is so visceral. It's like bright as day, 2 p.m. driving to pick up my kids, and I'm like flinching in my car, getting all scared about what's about to happen. So really, really loving this. And then the other reason that I was listening to that today is because I am 77% of the way through Fool's Errand, and I knew that I did not want to read this in public. Everyone says the ending of this is really, really sad, and yeah, that's going to be an at-home experience, probably an experience for right now as soon as I'm done filming. But yeah, I am loving, I mean, I already said this, but I'm loving this so, so much. It's doing the way that it's exploring Fitz's relationship with Dutiful and Nettle, and the exploration of the wit magic, getting a lot more information about that, and the way that it interplays with the skill, because there's not a lot of people in this world that have both the skill and the wit, is so fascinating. Night Eyes is such a compelling character in this one. The way that he is forcing Fitz to grapple with the ideas of death, but also Fitz's own humanity, and sort of the way that those roles feel a bit reversed. Oh, it's just so good. So I'm gonna go read this, and I will check back in if I'm a puddle on the floor crying. Hi again. I have not been very good at vlogging this week. I'm not really trying to hold myself to a certain standard. But one thing I did say for this video is that I would wrap it up when I finish Fool's Errand, and I did. Whew. I knew it was going to happen. I think Robin Hobb did a really good job laying the groundwork thematically for what was going to be happening. And the two things I think she did really, really well were having Dutiful's cat being represented in one way, and then having Fitz and Night Eyes represented in another. That mirror, that direct comparison, I thought was so strong narratively to communicate sort of the point of the book and the beauty of a true wit bond, and I thought that was incredible. Also, the incident at Fitz and Night Eyes' farm, or their cabin, when he was choking on the fish, that to me was the direct signal that was telling me what the end of this book was going to be. But it was so beautiful. And that's the thing, right? Is even though I knew it was going to happen at some point in this series, I was afraid that it was going to happen in a very like abrupt or violent or really traumatic way. And I was really, really scared for that, because I don't know. I think if you're going to inflict trauma upon your characters that you're writing to become so beloved, for your books, you have to be then really careful when you are then traumatizing them physically, mentally, ripping them apart, having these intense things happen to them. I think you have to be so careful because it can feel a bit like a betrayal to your reader. And so I read the scene when it happens, and I was crying, and it hit me, deep in the feels, and I had to like stop and really process for a minute. Then I finished the book, went on with the rest of my day, hung out with my family, all of that. And then later on that night, I was just thinking about how beautifully it was written. And so I went back and I reread it. And then I was just like ugly crying, sobbing, snot, the whole 9 yards. And yeah, what a treat to be so traumatized and yet so happily and deeply loving this story and these characters. Like, Robin Hobb is just a master. Yeah, yeah. On a happier note, my aardvark books came in, so I will show that. They'll also be up on a short, but I'll show them here. We have Lucky Day by Chuck Tingle, and Aardvark did a special edition, which is cool. I think it's really fun that they've been doing a lot of these. I also just saw that they announced they're doing a special edition Bride and Mate next month. I probably will not be getting that, but I do think it's really cool. So yeah, that's the special edition cover for Lucky Day. All this beautiful foiling. Very similar to my copy of Starving Saints from them, with all the gold. And then Local Heavens by K.M. Fajardo. No, Fajardo. This is a queer, like, techno thriller retelling of The Great Gatsby, which fabulous, very excited. And it just has this gorgeous ombre. Yeah, I love the quality of Aardvark's books, but I also just really appreciate their subtle branding. It's just a circle, and it's just one logo on the hardback itself, and then on the cover, and they always make it blend in with the cover art. They match it to the cover style. So, you can see it, it's there. It's not like completely unnoticeable, but it just blends in, and there's no, book of the month giant square here. And specifically on the spine, I really love the way that once they're on your shelf, these Aardvark books always just blend in, and it's only once you pull it out that then you can see it on the cover. And that's very standard, right? Like if you have a Reese's book club or Oprah pick or whatever, on the cover of a book, it's usually just on the front and not on the spine. And so I'm glad that they fit kind of with that standard, if you can call it a standard. But yeah, I will not be reading Local Heavens this month. Number one, just because I'm doing sort of my horror thriller physical TBR challenge. But number two, I just saw that Lucky Day is 228 pages. So that's going to be a really nice quick one to knock out this month and keep me on pace, because I don't think I'm going to necessarily be able to hit under 30 on my physical TBR by the end of the year. I really do want to like slow down a little bit. But I think I'm going to get close. I'm currently at 57, I think. So I think I can get close, and I'm just excited about that process. But yeah, that's the little update for this. I guess I will just close out this vlog by saying thanks for hanging as I test this out. This really is like a trial run as I figure out what I want to do, and as I practice remembering to film, because that's the other thing, is like getting like B-roll and stuff. I'm not good at remembering to do that yet. I need to practice that. But yeah, if you watched this and you enjoyed it, let me know. But if you watched it just to support, an extra thank you. And yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.